Welcome to Nerds Geeks in the Kitchen Sink. It's the podcast that's like hanging out at the video store.
I mean, if I don't start the year off with interrupting you, it's not a good year, right?
I paused for the
I
interruption.
know, right?
I knew it was
So,
coming. I knew it was coming. Well, hey, I'm DK, one of your hosts.
I'm Chris, your other host.
Improve if you feel like it. And today I think we are definitely improving because we have a
Absolutely.
wonderful guest. We have Bruno Catarino, comics author, screenwriter, all around pretty cool guy, I would say. Come at me if you think I'm wrong, but Bruno, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much for having me here. Yeah, just I'm good, I guess.
Awesome. That's what we want. Oh, Chris has the milk again.
I know,
Okay.
right?
Milk alert. All right. Well, hey, this is our first show back for the year 2025. What a year it's been. Let's not even go there. Uh, hey, we're going to talk about some fun stuff. Uh,
Yes.
the amount of films and things that I've read since we last did a show is unbelievable. So we're not going to be able to even cover it all, but I have
Right.
some top things picked out. But first, I'll just ask you, Chris, what have you been watching? What have you been playing, reading,
I've
anything?
actually been doing a lot. Well, playing wise, um, I'm not really a Fortnite guy, but the fact that they put Godzilla in Fortnite,
Sure.
I had to play. And I finally got to be Godzilla one round.
Okay, tell
And
me, I'm not a Fortniter. How does it,
okay,
is he Godzilla sized?
yes.
Hell yes.
You have to no.
Okay, I mean that sounds
Okay,
pretty good.
it is. It's fun. I don't do much on it. Ever play every once in a while,
No
but
judgment. You can play Fortnite. It's
oh,
fine.
I don't care. I really don't. It's I'm just shooting people. I'm fine. Um. Anyway, it's like a portal opens on the map, and the first person to go through the portal becomes Godzilla,
Okay,
and
cool.
then you get the stomp, the roar, and the
You
blast.
better have a blast. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
What version of Godzilla is it?
it is probably the last couple of the last big budget movie, Godzilla.
Godzilla
Zilla
minus
one
one?
and
My, um, I mean, it's kind of looks like in between -1 and when like the Kong and Godzilla. So it's right in
Okay,
between there.
okay.
So, but yeah, it's fun. It's just get to like vaporize people and you know stomp the hell out of things and
All right. Is
you
there
know
like building destruction? Like, did the
oh
buildings like
yeah,
if you?
oh
Okay,
yeah,
that's pretty
building
fun.
destructions, cars, like any kind of the almost any of the environment. If you hit it with either a stomp or a blast, just obliterate stuff.
Okay, let me ask you
Yeah.
one more question about this.
Okay.
Are there other kaiju that you get to fight?
No, not yet.
I want to be Mothra.
Well, there is like you get because like in Fortnite, you can get like different stuff for like gliders and axes and stuff.
Sure.
One of the gliders is Mothra.
That's not fair.
I know,
I want Mothra full size
but they
flying
keep
around.
showing Kong. So I'm assuming
Oh,
at some point Kong is going to come into the game,
that's very fun.
and then maybe Mothra, and just the way it's going. So,
Sure. Oh, that's pretty
like I
fun.
said, and that's really the just to play Godzilla and just smash the hell out of people is worth it. Past that, nah, not really. But I've also been playing Marvel Rivals,
Hmm.
and I'm not that great at it. I was never a big Overwatch guy anyway, and it's basically a Marvel version of Overwatch.
Right. I played it. I liked Overwatch, the original Overwatch, but then
Right,
even by the end of that, I was like, they made so many changes. I just none of my it just wasn't working for me anymore.
right.
And I tried to play Marvel Rivals as well, and I found it to be a little too noisy, a little too chaotic, a little too. It seemed unbalanced to me. Maybe I just suck. It's
Well,
probably what it is.
and there's a few characters that are pretty unbalanced. That you know, like you've got Hulk and somebody's got Shang-Chi,
Sure.
and they just button smash and just
I just
destroy.
I also felt I didn't love the art style. I know that's like usually not fair, but I just didn't love the designs. There are some that I like. There's a
Yeah,
Magneto that's pretty damn cool, but
well, yeah.
I, for the most part, did not love the art. So anyway, maybe I'll go back to it. Everyone seems to be playing it right now.
Well, and they keep adding characters,
Yeah,
so
I heard Blade was
I'm
coming, and if that day happens,
yes.
I will log back on.
Well, and I know a couple of X-Men other than Wolverine are coming too, so
Cool.
How addicting is that?
It's got to be.
I mean, apparently by everybody playing it. For me, it wasn't. I mean, I'll go to it every once in a while, back and forth, maybe play it once a week or something. But I will sit there and go down a rabbit hole and play for like 4 hours and not realize it
Sure.
until I look up. So
Just one more game.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm with you. Uh, I played so in the time since we've last podcasted,
right.
I became engulfed by Balatro.
Okay.
Anybody play Balatro?
I no, this is new to me.
It is a. I'm really surprised you haven't heard of it, Chris.
I,
I think it got Indie Game of the Year.
okay.
Um, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So when I describe this to you, people who know me will be like, "What? Why does he like this?" It's a card game, and it's based on a regular deck of cards.
Okay.
Think think like think solitaire meets like blackjack or something. Poker, just
Okay.
poker in general.
Right. Right.
So you're drawing a hand of cards and you're looking for poker plays. You're looking for two of a kind. You're looking for a flush. You're looking, and like for me, even when you start to say those phrases, I go, I don't really play poker. I don't do card games.
Okay.
But this is a roguelike game in the vein of your Binding of Isaac, your Hades, your Slay the Spire, probably more
Okay.
accurately Slay the Spire because it's card based.
Right.
I can't even begin to tell you how fun it is. It's so good. And so what you're doing is you're drawing those cards, but there's a higher and higher blind every time, right? You
Right.
got to. So the first one's 300. You have to make at least 300 chips.
Okay.
Well, the way it goes is you play around and then there's a store screen. You play around and there's a store screen.
Okay.
In the store screen, you can buy these Joker cards and other types of cards, which I won't even get into. But the
Okay.
Joker cards start to do things that are not you couldn't do in a real card game.
Okay.
The Joker things start to add weird multipliers, and if you do this specific thing, then I'll give you this many more chips, or it'll do this, have this effect. So you're putting together these. You can have five Jokers in the slot at the top, and they all
Okay.
work together and they all synergize, and it just becomes this insane. So like by the end, you're making hundreds of thousands of chips if you're doing it right,
Okay.
and it's really really fun. And it's one of those where it's on mobile, it's on PC, it's on console, it's everywhere and it is a blast. So
It does not surprise me that you've become addicted to it at all.
I've beaten it a
Knowing you,
handful of times.
knowing
Yeah,
you,
it's just one
yeah.
of those things. I've beaten it a handful of times, so my goal is to beat it with every deck, and I'm getting there. But the problem is I got it for mobile and I got it for console, and I've been playing it on both equally. So it's like
Right.
my progress is taking me twice as long. Anyway, Chris, I interrupted your time. Is there anything
No,
else you
no, no,
wanted to
no.
cover?
I've actually watched quite a bit. And we can get into some of it in depth, but I finished Skeleton Crew.
Okay, I haven't finished it yet.
Okay, so I mean, I did see War of the Rohirrim.
Oh, you did see that?
Yes, I did,
Okay.
and well, it was a movie.
I kind of figured you would say that. Yeah.
As the Tolkien guy that I am, it was a movie.
Okay.
The artwork and some of the action was really, really creative, but yeah, as a Tolkien fanatic, it really pissed me off.
Well, I think we have to.
Anyway,
You can't talk about that and not compare it with Rings of Power. Bruno, did you watch Rings of Power?
I did not. I hear that it wasn't good. I think the second
Hmm.
season was better than the first one,
Hmm.
maybe, from what I heard. But no, I haven't watched it.
Okay.
yeah.
Well, Chris, how do you compare the two?
Um.
I know
Okay.
one's an anime and one's a
I know. I
live
know.
action show.
Okay. You know the white spot that's on top of chicken shit.
Oh God. I guess I know what you're talking about.
The Rings of Power is the chicken shit, and War of the Rohirrim is the white clean spot on the top of chicken shit.
Wow. What a
Okay.
beautiful image. You're a
I
painter
never-
with words.
It may be a little cleaner looking, but you know, at the end of the day, it's all just shit.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Never
Sure.
going to get that image out of my head.
No, thanks for that.
And you're more than welcome to use that in one of your books.
I definitely will. It's almost poetic.
But no, I watched that. The popcorn tin, which I did not get one, is way better than the movie. I wanted
yeah.
that. I wanted that hammer so bad.
hmm
But
Pretty
anyway, yeah, it was. I saw What If. I kind of lost interest in it. The whole Howard the Duck thing really threw me off.
Is it season 3 now?
Yeah,
I
the
didn't
last
even watch season 2.
Yeah. So
I'm a big fan of Uatu the Watcher and all, like everyone else is, of course.
yeah,
But
but they kind of almost made him a joke at times
no,
in this one. Yeah, I wasn't real happy with this season.
not Uatu the Watcher.
I know the first one was. I thought the first season was pretty good. The second season wasn't quite as good as the first, and then this one I just.
Maybe I watched 1 or 2 in the second. Was that
I
the
think
one where
you
Thanos
did.
was a good guy?
Yeah,
Okay, I think I saw a little bit of that. Which one
Yeah.
had the zombies? Was that season 2?
yeah, it was season
Holy
2.
crap, that seems like it was so long ago.
It was.
Oh, okay. Time. Don't like it.
I know, right?
Well,
But
Bruno, how
then-
about you? Oh, I'm sorry, Chris. I thought you were
Oh
done.
yeah, no, I've kind of out of the sci-fi realm, and 3 shows that I suggest watching that are really good. Day of the Jackal
Sure.
is a spy thriller.
Sure. Yeah.
The Night Agent, yet another spy thriller.
Who's in the Night
kinda-
Agent?
Um, it's not a lot of known people, but it's
Okay.
on Netflix, so that's one to watch. Day of the Jackal is on Peacock.
Yeah.
And the other one is Landman with Billy Bob Thornton.
Landman.
It's about like the oil company and oil production in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it sounds like it might be boring, but everything that goes on it's a Taylor Sheridan show.
I will admit that the first thing that happened was my eyes kind of started to roll back in my head a little bit when you mentioned Texas oil thing, and I was like,
But it has
is there a werewolf? Or
no, there's
what?"
like the drug cartels in Mexico and everything else that goes on with, and like, I think if you watch it,
where are the vampires are the people,
Yeah, no,
man?
no.
They're the real monsters. We get it. We know.
But the only other thing that I did is I went and rewatched Smile 2.
You rewatched it,
I rewatched it. I think I liked it better the second time that I watched it.
really?
I mean, it's not a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination.
I think the last
but-
10 minutes is pretty good.
yeah. No, that's what I said. It's not a perfect movie, but I ended up liking it a little bit more the second time around.
Okay.
So-
It's called Smile 2 because you got to watch it twice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
But that's it. It's kind of.
All right, Bruno, what do you have?
Oh, I mean, in terms of movies, I used to be quite a film guy, but recently not so much. So I think the last recent thing that I watched was Deadpool and Wolverine. So I'm really out
Okay.
of things.
Sure.
Oh, it's
Did you like it?
I did like it. It was really cool. Yeah, it was quite fun.
thought
More
so,
recently,
too.
yeah.
more recently, I've been watching. I quite like Golden Age movies, Golden
Oh.
Age Hollywood. So
yeah.
Sure,
I have
yeah.
watched some stuff recently. I really like film noir. So
Oh, hell yeah.
there's a cinema in London that had a few film noirs. So I watched Double Indemnity, which is
Oh, I'm so jealous. You got to see that in a theater?
yeah,
Wow.
Oh,
and The Big Hit also
yeah, that's
as well.
Oh, yeah.
so awesome. I would have been
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, really cool. So honestly, in terms of watching in the cinema, it's been mostly the stuff that I've been watching. Recently, not so much. Right before I canceled my Amazon Prime account, last thing I saw was and I have mixed feelings about it. It was this show called Jury Duty.
Oh, where it was a hidden camera thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was weird. I don't know. I think it had comedy moments and all of that, but it was very it felt very much like a reality TV show, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It had its moments.
I know some people
James,
that really liked it, but I didn't see it myself.
James Marsden is amazing in it. He plays himself, but this asshole version of himself. It's great. Yeah,
That's pretty funny, actually, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's really
The
good.
Donut Lord himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of watching stuff, that's been that. I've been playing. I played recently Final Fantasy VIII. Replayed
Oh,
it.
great.
Really.
Oh, nice.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you play it?
know,
Which of the jillion versions did you play? Please pick up a PlayStation 1 game. Oh, yes.
Oh, and there
yes.
you go.
Okay, I gotcha. I'm a big Steam Deck person myself. I thank you for being a member of the Steam Deck Club. I love it.
It's the best. I actually stopped playing altogether for a really long time, and since I bought the deck, I just went back to gaming, and it's great. So yeah, I finished that, and after that, I started Octopath Traveler.
Oh yeah,
and I'm loving it.
So you're an RPG guy.
I am an RPG guy,
Okay.
like proper RPGs, not
Yeah.
The whole. Yeah, I'm not going to say bad things about action RPGs, but they suck.
Oh, okay, all right. I can go for both. I do like both. But no, that's okay. Okay, but if we're talking about like, I'm not into the Dark Souls, the Souls-like stuff. It's just I value my sanity and I value my like if I'm playing games, I want to have fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really do a lot of those. But action RPG, I mean, there's some cool ones out there. But yeah, I think you're probably right. Action RPGs now have become Dark Souls. They're just all Dark Souls now.
Yeah.
And I think that's a problem.
Yeah, it's that thing that you have something that's really successful and then everybody starts copying it, and it's really annoying.
I'm ready for the bubble to pop. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. As far as like old school RPGs go, there was a great little one that came out a couple years ago, Sea of Stars. Have you played that?
I haven't played that. Is that good? Is that like?
I'm highly recommending it to you. I truly think you will like it quite a bit. It feels like an SNES, just like a golden age classic, Japanese RPG. And I really had a great time. I think you'll probably really like it if you're playing things like Final Fantasy VIII and Octopath. I quite liked Sea of Stars, so that's my recommendation to you.
Yeah,
I am going to have to check that out.
That is a good one. Yep.
Awesome. Anything else you've been reading or playing?
Yeah, I mean, recently I was kind of sick and in bed for a while, so I just read the whole series of these two babies.
Oh, I read Department of Truth. It's great.
Yeah, it really is great, but this is possibly the best comic I read in a really long time.
Wow, okay. And that's Brubaker and Phillips, right?
Brubaker and Phillips. I just finished volume 4 today, and it's like, it's awesome.
Wow, okay. I just started Where the Body Was.
That's really cool as well, yeah.
I started it literally yesterday. Yeah, it's really good. I didn't anticipate the hardcore sex early in the book.
I'll tell you a story about that.
Oh,
I started reading that book on a train. No, sorry, on an airplane.
Oh,
on an airplane. And
even better, yeah. Where everybody's like this together.
And I had to stop because the pages were just coming, and I was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whoa.
No, I'm not reading this here.
Oh, that's amazing. I can't go past this moment without saying. So we're friends with Umar Dida, the comics writer. I don't know if you're aware of him, but we're just huge fans of him. I would consider him to be a personal friend. He loves the movie Manhunter, and there's the scene in Manhunter when Will Graham falls asleep on a plane, and he's got crime scene photos of like murdered people everywhere, and a little girl sees it, and I can just imagine that happening to you with that amazing scene and Where the Body Was. So far, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I won't say anything. I won't spoil it.
When I first opened it and I saw that, like, the first thing you see is like a map, and there's like locations numbered and labeled. I was like, "What am I getting into? What is this?" But so far, it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's I cannot comment without spoiling.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
great.
It was a good read.
Awesome.
I think that I'll keep it like that.
That's so good to hear. That's great. I mean, I was going to finish it either way, but maybe tonight. Maybe tonight on that one. Okay. Anything else, Bruno?
Um, I mean, I have a massive pile of, I call it my pile of shame. Like, I have maybe 200 books that I haven't read yet.
We all have that.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Which is insane. I mean, I guess those were the last couple of things that I was reading. I mean, if you want to go further back, have you heard about Undiscovered Country? Scott
I
Snyder?
I have, but I haven't read it.
Yeah.
I very much recommend it. It's really good.
I'm big into Snyder, so yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure I'll like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the third book is like the fourth book of Song of Fire and Ice, as in I couldn't really care for it.
Okay.
But the rest of the series is really good.
Okay, cool. All right, I will put that on. It was already kind of on my list, but I will move it up a little. That's great. That's great. Well, okay, I don't want to talk too much more before getting into really why we have you on, and that is we have to talk about bereavement.
Yes.
And I'll cover my many things I've watched. We'll do that after. But I think if people are listening, they need to know right now about bereavement. You've got a Kickstarter going. And so it's a wonderful comic book. If you would like to give the pitch for it, let's go.
This is the part where I'm going to just choke up and nothing is going to come out because I'm terrible at talking about my own stuff. The whole "that's awesome." I cannot do that with my stuff. So I made this really shitty book. No, I'm kidding.
Calm down.
Oh no.
No. So yeah, Bereavement is a sci-fi with. I usually call it like a sci-fi with a sci-fi murder mystery with a little bit of Pixar in it. And if you just see a few images of it, you understand why I mentioned the Pixar stuff. And it's basically a story about this therapist in the future who goes to a base in. I'm loving the cat, by the way.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get him off of me.
No.
I'm sorry.
I love cats. So, sorry, I just went completely in the tangent. So yeah, it's about this therapist who is called to the Jupiter base of this space exploration agency, and she basically talks with explorers who go out, to explore other planets, and this is set in the future, obviously. And she's called because one of her patients has died, but as she gets there, she finds out that the partner of that patient actually believes she was murdered, and it's a bit about finding out what happened. But is also about loss and grief, and there's all these more mature themes, and it gets into some more philosophical questions of can AI feel loss and stuff like that. And wow, you are really well prepared.
I was trying, but the cat was in the way. There we go. It's lovely. The art
Yes.
is lovely. And I was just going to illustrate when you were talking about the Pixar elements. I don't think it's a spoiler to say. I mean, it's in all the everything. But this is a certain character in the comic. And so, the funny thing is, I read it before I really read that little description. And so I was a little thrown by the little character and sort of the direction it went. But then I read the Pixar thing and I was like, oh, the whole thing came together.
Right.
And I was like, that makes so much more sense. Okay, I finally I get why those decisions were made and why it looks the way it does. And it could totally work like a short, like a Pixar short,
Yeah.
Maybe minus one element, or something along those lines.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't want to give too much away. But there is an investigation because someone has died. So we'll say that.
Right.
So yeah, I totally get that and could see it being like a short you'd see before like Toy Story 6 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if you read my previous two books, you would understand why someone would understand why you're saying that. Is that I generally am not gentle with graphic deaths and stuff like that. So I guess that's what you mean, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so yeah, you've got a Kickstarter. People can donate to that, and I hope they do. I did the other day. Um,
Thank you.
I
Thank
hope
you so
people
much.
will do that. It's a cool little book. It's got some great ideas. It's got some wonderful art. Yeah. Chris, what were your thoughts? Did you have any thoughts on it?
Oh yeah, I liked it a lot, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but you'll know that what I'm talking about. Like some of my favorite part of the writing was in the lab and the back and forth between, like I said, I'm not going to spoil because there's so much in that scene, and especially I think that kind of kicks off like the perspective of the therapist at that point, really, to make her question the narrative. Let's put it that way.
Hmm.
And at that point, and that's really, it's a little bit further in the book, but those scenes kind of really drew me into wanting more.
Sure.
So because you can see where this one's headed. You can't see the destination, but you start to see the path, that your main character is going to take.
Would
So,
you would you say that you want more? Is that what you're
oh,
saying?
absolutely, absolutely, yes,
Yeah, yeah, that's weird because I always thought of this as a one shot, but there was definitely more people who said, "Well, where is it going next?" And I'm like, "Well, it's not supposed to go next anywhere."
right.
But
I
I don't
oh,
know.
go ahead.
No, I was going to say maybe it has to. Maybe I have to write
Well,
something else
maybe
with
I
it.
mean, obviously, by like some of the shows that I watch, the espionage and the having to follow the path, that ending like that is going to drive. I'm going to have so many scenarios in my head and go to so many different places that I need closure. So, chop
Sure.
chop.
Yep. I was just going to say it did feel to me a little like an episode of not exactly a Twilight Zone, but something along
X
those lines.
Files.
Sort of an X-Filesy thing, but I was thinking more of like one of those, not like why am I thinking about Night Gallery? Something along those lines. Like what's the oh, I'm going to make an even more obscure reference. Um the Ray Bradbury Theater.
Oh yeah,
It
no, I
totally
get
feels
what
like a
you're
Ray Bradbury thing. I really like those old shows and those quirky little one-off stories where you're thinking about it forever. And
right.
yeah, maybe it needs to go somewhere else, and maybe it doesn't. And I respect it either way. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's a cool little story.
I think it lends to the opportunity to go further.
Sure.
Let's just put it that way. I
Well,
think it lends
Bruno,
the opportunity to go
can you
further.
tell us a little bit about the Kickstarter itself?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, sure. And again, I have no idea what to say. No. Um,
It sucks.
Yeah.
Don't do
yeah,
it.
it sucks. Don't pack it. Just, there are a lot of awesome projects back those. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, we launched just 4 or 5 days ago, and we are currently near 30%, which is actually quite good. But hey, we're not going to get to the goal unless people actually go there and
Yes.
have a look at. You can read the first 5, 6 pages, 7. I can't remember, but you can read the first 5 pages. You can learn more about the project if you go to the Kickstarter page. So just search for Bereavement on Kickstarter, have a little read, and you have a lot of different rewards where you can get just digital, physical. You can get some of the back books. So if you want, you can get one of these as well with I cannot
Yes.
see. So those are available as well. Yeah, and the shipping, I mean, for someone in the UK, it's relatively simple, but even if you are outside the UK, thanks to the very nice people at Royal Mail, you get some fairly cheap shipping. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Thanks, Royal Mail.
Yes.
We love you.
exactly. Yeah, they are paying me for the extra
I'm
publicity.
sure they're
No,
listening. I'm sure they're
they're not.
listening.
Yes.
They've been on to us for a while. So
So
I
I
Um,
I have to jump in here and say I read Prey and Portrait of a Soul, And I personally, between the two, I think Prey was the one for me. And I think if you look at it for 3 seconds, I mean, anyone would say probably that one. It's a little grittier. There's blood on most of the pages. Uh, it was a very fun story with, it's one of those things where again, it would make a really good Twilight Zone episode. You think one thing is happening, we're going one direction, and then not at all. And there's very little to clue you in, although there are little things I think that are there. But for the most part, I was blown away by the twist at the end, which I will not reveal.
No.
But so if I recommend doing the Kickstarter just to get a copy of Prey, go for one of those higher tiers where you can get it. I thought Prey was fantastic, and look, I really like Bereavement as well, but just stylistically, visually, Prey ticks a lot of boxes for me. So
Yeah.
get yourselves a copy of Prey, if nothing else.
It's your horror vein, right?
That's right. You
It's
just
like-
tapped right
yeah.
in, you know.
I was saying you can see the phantasm ball that he's got back there.
Oh,
That's yeah.
and then Friday the 13th parts 2 and 3,
Right.
Demon Wind next to that. Yeah, and under that, the box set of Halloween. Just lots and lots. Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
and actually, something I got for Christmas, the box that I couldn't bring myself to throw away yet, the subspecies coffin collection with all 5 subspecies movies that no one knows or cares about, but I love them so much. Anyway, well,
Why would you throw away a box that looks really cool?
I
Actually,
know. Well, the thing is, it comes in this coffin and it looks beautiful. Yeah, I know. My wife was like, "You can't throw that box away," and I was like, "But I probably should, right? It can't sit here forever." I don't know. Maybe it can. So anyway, I hope people will back the Kickstarter. It's like the price of going out to lunch, even cheaper than that. You know,
yeah.
it's a cup of coffee.
And again, going back to shipping, if you get all 3 books, the shipping is like $3 each.
It's not bad.
So,
No, that's not
Yeah.
bad at all.
And it's cool for a really cool cause. And like, on this show, we always want to support the creative people doing cool things.
Absolutely.
And it's not AI generated garbage.
Right.
It's human made, interesting literature and art. So
And we will have all the links in our shows and on our socials.
yeah, we'll definitely link
So
to your
we'll
Kickstarter
definitely
there.
have everything on there. So
For sure.
definitely
Thank
go
you.
out and get it.
If you're listening to this episode, look in the description and you can click the link. It's right there. Kickstarter.
just the fact that you called it literature, I'm like, okay, the art part, I get it. The literature, it's
Bruno, stop.
No,
Bruno,
no.
stop.
No, I know.
It is. It's literature. Goddamn it.
Yes, it is.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, just honestly, go back and look through some of the most consistent and what I would call literature has been through comics. I mean, some of the greatest stories,
Mhm.
I've seen,
You can't think of one, can you? Comics are terrible.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, no, not at all. They're horrible. Death in the family, or
No, but pretty much everything nowadays that is made like into films or TV, started as a comic. It's
right,
almost
Yeah.
everything. It's everywhere. So,
right. I mean, even some of the things you think were actually started.
Sure.
Yeah. What was it? This really indie movie a while ago, Diary of a Teenage Girl.
Yeah,
Have you guys heard about that movie? That was a
Mhm.
comic. I
Yeah.
didn't know that until recently. It's awesome. Yeah.
That's great. Well,
what was it? Lake House?
Lake House.
Is that
The Lake House?
which one? The Lake
The
House?
Keanu
Yeah.
Reeves movie?
No.
Where
Wrong.
he's sending letters to Sandra?
No,
Is it Sandra Bullock?
no. The horror movie.
What are you talking about?
Are you talking about The Nice House on the Lake?
I mean,
There's no movie of that.
I
is
have
there?
that. No.
That'd be cool.
No, there's another one
The Lake
where
House.
it's. I'm probably saying the name wrong, but it was a horror movie where there's almost a mirror house across the lake. We've watched it and we hadn't talked about it on.
Are you talking
No.
about the one with what's her name?
Yes,
And
I know
there-
you know what I'm
There
talking
may or
about.
may not be a ghost involved.
Yes.
And I thought it was going to be a Hellraiser movie, and it wasn't.
Yes, no.
And it absolutely should have been a Hellraiser movie, but
Yes.
it wasn't.
Yes.
That movie is called Lake House. Isn't it? Is it called Lake
Yes,
House?
I swear it is.
Hold on. That's a fantastic. Have you seen that, Bruno?
No, no, I just found amazing that you were like that movie with
Nope.
that's what's her name, and you're
Hold
like,
on.
I know it's her.
It's
Wait,
not
no,
the
no,
it's not
yeah,
Lake House. I believe
no.
it's Night House.
Night House, yes, Night House.
The Night House. It came out in 2020, and it's got Rebecca Hall. I'm a huge fan of Rebecca Hall.
Yes.
Um,
Okay,
what a
sorry.
cool movie with some weird. It's a movie that, from what I understand, kind of benefited from the whole shutdown because it gave them more time to like. I guess they like remixed all the audio and like did some more, post
Right,
production on it that they wouldn't have had time for.
right.
I thought that movie was just a knockout. So,
Yes. And speaking
Night
of
House. It's a haunted house movie. It's about
and
loss.
speaking of what you said before,
Oh, look, the Night House in the lake.
Yeah.
and I just got done rereading this also. So
Did anyone give you that as a gift, like any cool people, or did you?
some idiot gave it to me. I don't know.
All right. So I want to move away from talking about comics and start talking
Okay.
about some comic books. So I've been reading many things lately. Barstow is one of them. This is a dark horse. It's by, most importantly to me, oh, wrong finger, Rebecca McKendry, who is a horror director and podcaster who I've been following for quite a long time, and I'm a really big fan of. She's
Right.
wonderful. She's into body horror and aquatic horror and some real specific like nunsploitation, just some cool like subgenres that I love, right?
Mhm.
And so this is her comic book. Chris, she directed that movie Glorious
Okay.
about the uh, what do you want to call it? Like the Lovecraftian glory hole.
Right. Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yes,
That's the
I
reaction
know.
I was hoping for from
Yes,
Bruno.
I know exactly what you. We watched that movie.
Yes, we covered it, and
Yes.
I like it quite a bit. J.K. Simmons is the voice of a sort of old god coming through the glory hole, telling this person to do things. Anyway,
Wait, that's the real thing. I thought it was a
No,
metaphor.
no,
no,
well,
no.
it's a real thing.
Yeah,
That's the name of the movie.
Glorious.
glorious.
I need to check that
It's a
out.
it's a big
You do.
recommendation.
Yeah.
I really liked it. And, it's indie, but we're all about it here.
It
Um,
is so twisted and so
it's it's
fun. I
it's a
mean,
glorious
for
film.
yeah,
So anyway, this Barstow, I really have been enjoying it, and it has a sort of Twin Peaks slash Blue Velvet feel to it, where it's this
okay,
small town and there's weird characters and there's just this vibe going on. But also because her sensibilities are all about this weird body horror and strange stuff, there's this demon element and there's this possession body thing that I haven't quite understood. But there were a couple panels in this. I love that the second one is just a man mopping up just the viscera. There's a couple panels where I have just laughed out loud. It's like funny, but it's really hard to explain. But like this guy gets hit by this family, and they're like praising him to be like a sort of god, and the thing he says is, "Man, y'all fucked up my truck." I really like it. It's cool. I recommend Barstow for sure. Next thing in my little pile, I can go through these pretty quickly. Absolute Batman #4. I thought it was the best issue yet.
really. I haven't got
I've
that
been
far
really
yet.
down on the Batman
I know
on
I
that
am.
one, but that issue was really good. I like that one quite a bit. Absolute Wonder Woman #4. This one is the best one of all the absolute.
Really.
This is of all the new DC stuff. This
I was
and
saying that's probably the best out of the new revamped
I shouldn't be
Trinity.
surprised, but it does seem like Wonder Woman just hasn't gotten, I don't know, her due lately. And but I've this is such it's so wonderfully drawn. The story is so good, and they are nailing her character. I haven't seen her like this in so long, and it just feels so perfect. Um, Absolute Wonder Woman. You don't need to read Absolute Batman or Superman. There is no crossover yet so far whatsoever. I think it's just going to be 4 or 5 issues, five,
Yeah,
maybe six.
5 or 6, I think.
But I would so recommend if you're even remotely interested in Wonder Woman, please. That one's really good. Okay, just to get through some of the bigger names, I did the most recent Blade. This is number four. This is Blade Red Band. Is what it's called.
Yeah.
It hasn't been great. They just seems like they don't know
I
what to
was saying
do with
I'm on
Blade.
two, and like that's the best description of it. They don't know what to do. Kind of like in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yep. This one, it was a better issue. I mean, there's some cool action and stuff, but
Right.
I don't just want action. I want a good story, and so far there has just not been much of anything there. So that's
But
been kind of a bummer. A character I
that's
love so much.
yeah, and that's the biggest argument. How the hell do you not have a good story of a daywalker killing other vampires? It's really not that fucking hard.
We could make him fight Dracula again.
I mean,
That's all he ever does. Let him do
it's
something else.
I know, but yeah, it's really not that hard.
Okay, all right. We don't need to get mad about Blade.
Okay,
Okay, Wolverine Revenge. This is number four. Yeah, number four
four.
of five, I believe. This is Jonathan Hickman. I'm a huge fan. This has been the Wolverine story for me in quite some time. It's just excellent. I really, really like this story. And what's funny is like it started as this simple concept. What if Wolverine needed to get revenge? Uh,
Shocker.
yeah,
Yeah.
Shocker. No, Shocker's not in this one. I don't
No.
think so. Uh, but it has turned into this interesting sort of conversation about like aging and forgiveness. And, they're not beating you over the head with these things. I mean, it is a violent romp. Yeah, it's funny. There's some great one-liners. Um, I just, yeah, it's been really, really good. So, yeah, it's very fun. There's a scene when he notices there's the camera watching them as he's fighting someone, and he says, "What's the camera for?" And the guy he's fighting says, "Well, that's for our audience." And then Wolverine says, "Well, in that case, uh, anyone you want to say goodbye to?" And I won't show you real quick. That's what happens to the man. Boop, that's it. It's very cool. Just fun. You don't have to think about it too much. It's
Yeah.
a Marvel, it's a Wolverine. It is what it is. So I would recommend Wolverine Revenge. Now, this is the last one I'm going to talk about. This is Null Hunter. I think number four. I love it. I love it. I love it. Null Hunter has been this amazing surprise and delight. Um, it's it's just wonderful. It's from Image. I know I've talked about it a bunch on this show, but
Yep.
boy, you don't need any knowledge of backstory. It is a cyberpunk futuristic retelling of the labors of Hercules. That helps add a little context, but you don't even need to know about the Hercules legend. Boy, I am recommending Null Hunter. It's just so much fun. I think and I said this before and I got yelled at, but if I was like 14, this would be the coolest thing to ever exist. I mean, it's so much fun. So yeah, Null Hunter, big fan. Um, Chris, did I give you that? Have you read any of that yet?
No, you still haven't given me that one yet, and I haven't had a chance to go get since before Christmas back to the comic shop to pick stuff
Okay,
up.
no worries.
But
But I have one through four, obviously, if you
right,
want to check those out. So anyway, those are my comics that I have been reading. Oh, actually, quite a bit more than that, but those are the ones that I had right here that I want
right,
to talk about. Um, as far as movies go, I feel like I'm just going to ramble here. I'll try to go quick.
okay,
Um, I watched Wolfman. Who saw Wolfman?
not yet.
No? Okay.
Mm-mm.
I liked it, but it sort of something happens halfway through and it sort of becomes a different movie in some way. And
Okay,
it's like they're really trying to, there's a metaphor that Wolfman is going for. And I think they get lost in delivering you that metaphor instead
rather
of
than
delivering
delivering the
you
movie. Yeah.
an interesting Wolfman movie. There are some incredible moments. There's a moment during the transformation that is like top of the genre, really, really good. But then it's all about this one thing, and it just doesn't it doesn't deliver anymore. Um, I think it needed a rewrite, something. I don't know, but I love the way it looks. I love about the first half of it, like excellent setup, really good, and then
Yeah.
unfortunately, just doesn't deliver. I wouldn't tell people to not see it, but I would say it is just about down the
Lower your
middle.
expectations.
Yeah, and maybe if you do, you might enjoy it more. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, I'm more excited now hearing that Robert Eggers is going to do the Wolfman movie.
It's not Wolfman.
Wolfman or Wolf
I
what
think it's Werewolf.
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 Werewolf. But I mean to have like in the 1300s,
Sure, yeah.
1380s, and he's gonna do what he
The
did for
80s.
Nosferatu.
When I say the 80s, I'm talking about the 1380s, and I think
Right,
everyone knows that
right.
by now.
But I mean, after just his track record with the movies that he's done, and he seems to be getting put into almost a revamping of the classic monster
I
movies.
saw a thing where he was like, "Oh, if I had to photograph a cell phone, blah, I would die." Blah. Come on, Robert Eggers. I
Yeah, but you
understand
know what?
it's not what he's into.
His movies look beautiful.
They do, but you're not too good for a cell phone, Robert. We're all using them. Come on.
Nah,
Come on.
No, but
Oh,
I probably
him and
get what.
Nolan, him and Nolan.
oh, go ahead, Bruno.
No, I was going to say I probably get why he's mentioning that is that it's a big cheat, right? I mean, and being when you think about horror, especially, right? If you're doing like a cave in the woods and then everybody has a cell phone, where are your stakes, right? You have a cell
Right.
phone. You
Sure.
Yeah.
can,
Oh,
yeah,
sure. It's a huge problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So I can understand why some filmmakers are like, yeah, screw phones. That
Sure. Oh no, I was just kind of like I think he doesn't want to do anything that's made within the last 50 years or that's set within the last 50 years or so at least.
Right.
He's
yeah.
yeah, that's really what he means, I think. But yeah, I totally get yeah, as a big horror fan, yeah, the cell phones are a huge problem. How do you deal with that? I don't know. But yeah, so okay, Wolfman, it was fine. I like any excuse to go to the theater, and if I can see a werewolf on the screen in the theater. By the way, it was the best locally owned and operated movie theater in the country.
Oh yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Listeners will know what that means.
Right.
Okay, next thing I watched was from 1946, The Spiral Staircase. Has anyone seen that? Okay.
What is that about?
Well, not what you might think. Uh, it sort of feels like kind of proto Hitchcock in a way, although I think
Okay.
he's making movies by that point. But
Yeah.
it is it is kind of Hitchcockian in some way. It almost felt like a giallo sort of film, but like it's 46. There's no graphic murder or anything, but some of it was kind of intense for the time for sure. But so it's basically a stormy night, and there is a mute servant in this big mansion house who is being stalked by a killer in this mansion house. It's wonderful atmosphere. I cannot recommend this movie enough. It's really, really good. The storm just makes the whole thing. It's just beautiful. I really liked it. There is this big spiral staircase that's in the movie, although I do remember commenting about halfway through, like there hasn't been a lot of staircase in this movie called The Spiral Staircase. Uh, I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. I gave it a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd, Steel Letterboxd. Directed by Robert Siodmak. Siodmak. I don't know how to
Yeah,
pronounce that name. I'm
yeah.
sorry. Um, I feel like I should probably know more of his. Oh, he did Son of Dracula. That
He
movie was
did.
horrible.
He did a lot of. He did a lot of Norse.
Oh, I can see. I'm looking at his list
Okay.
now, and I'm feeling stupid. Yeah, absolutely. Um, Lots of stuff. So yeah, he clearly knows what he's doing. And yeah, Spiral Staircase, definitely a recommendation if you're into that kind of thing. Um, to go the other direction, the next thing I watched was the movie Cuckoo from this last year. Did you
Mhm.
see it, Chris?
Yes.
Bruno?
I don't
No.
even know what movie that is.
Um,
Cuckoo.
it's pretty unique. It's like this family moves up to this isolated German settlement. It's modern day,
Yeah.
but something is going on, and there's this like there's these undertones of there's this scientific thing happening there, but you don't really know what. Um, I thought it was a pretty good movie. I liked it quite a bit. It was just I liked it, how unique and strange it was. Um, Pretty good payoff at the end. I would recommend it for sure. Although
Yeah.
for Bruno, I would definitely say Spiral Staircase first.
Yeah.
That seems like my sort of thing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I
Right.
think so too. But yeah, Cuckoo I thought was pretty good. I wish I'd seen it in the theater, but I just happened to miss that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. Um, the next thing I watched, I've got one more, and then we can talk Nosferatu.
Okay.
I watched Malum, which was a remake of Final Shift, Last Shift.
The Last Shift.
You know, where the police officer goes to the old police station, and then there's
Right.
something going on. So it's a remake from this. If I understand this correctly, it's a remake made by the original team. They got
Okay.
more money and more funding, and they said, "Let's remake the movie." The original was better.
Really.
I was not enjoying Malum at
Hmm.
all. It just was not as good. The effects were somehow worse. I think maybe they got lost in the idea that they had so much money that they could do anything. And normally, I'm pretty forgiving of effects, but some of the effects were not great. Just it just didn't quite have the atmosphere, and it didn't quite land like the first one for me. So I would recommend watch The Last Shift instead.
I mean, when you talk about special effects, because I haven't seen it, I've seen The
Hmm.
Last Shift, but um, when you talk about special effects, did they like get more into like the CGI stuff compared to practical?
So a
I
lot
mean,
of it
in
is
the
still
new,
practical. No, a lot of it is still practical, but I mean, just
okay,
like some of the editing and some of the effects, like
okay,
I can't really give many examples without fully giving things away, but let's just say that it just didn't have the look. It did not look
okay.
nearly as good as the first one, which is kind of shocking to me.
I'll say because if you watch this show, any, you know my beef with CGI compared to
Sure. No,
practical
there
effects.
was
So
a little CGI, I think, but it really wasn't. That wasn't the issue so much.
okay.
Maybe I didn't word that well enough. But and some of the performances, there were a lot more people in the movie,
Mm.
and I don't know. Anyway, I
See,
don't.
in a movie like that, I think it just it leans better with less.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's you set more of a atmosphere with just having more of a limited amount of
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. The old it's different for everyone, but for
less is
me,
more.
I learned that lesson from like Evil Dead. Sam Raimi taught me that lesson. The
Right,
less you have, the more creative you have to be.
right.
Um, I love it so much. So I think again, the last shift maybe nails that, but this one, they spend
Okay.
so much time on the backstory and the cult thing, and you see like you just starts
Mhm.
out and you see all of it, and it's like it was way better in the first one where it was more of an idea and a suggestion.
Where it
Yeah,
was more of an unknown. And
exactly.
I think that's one of the biggest problems. People want to like explain and backstory too much. There's something to be said about not knowing everything and
Sure,
it still being because those are the kind of movies that you walk out of the theater and you develop that story in your head a little more
sure.
and it makes what you've seen and what they put on there a little more
But that has
in
to be
your
such a
mind.
challenge if you're the filmmaker or the writer. I
Oh,
mean,
I
Bruno,
get
can
it.
you talk about that at all?
Yeah.
No, I mean, the thing that I was kind of thinking about was Alien. Not answering your question, but I think Alien. Yeah, I'm not answering your question at all.
Yeah,
It's just,
yeah,
Xenomorphs,
um,
guys.
yeah.
but I think Alien has that problem, right? The first Alien, it was so good, in my opinion, but because you don't see much, and now I'm going to say something that people are going to, want to kill me, but I didn't care that much about Aliens. I mean, it's a good film. It is. Is it as good as Alien? No. And part of it is that there's more action, less horror.
I
I
agree.
don't know.
Bruno, we're with you on this.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, you're horror guys.
you're
Yeah.
Yeah.
preaching to the choir.
Yeah, you're horror guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot who I was talking to. And, yeah, I think that the more that they explained, the less effective it was.
Yeah.
Can you hear noise there? Sorry.
Nope.
Nope.
No. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that the more they explain, the worse it gets. And yeah, I think that's kind of the Alien problem. Yeah, and your question was?
The line of so when you're trying to make something an element to a story where it is something where how you the mystery of something how do you
Mhm.
walk that line of giving it too much backstory versus not enough, making it interesting and compelling but not going too far one way or the other.
I wish I had an answer. I really don't. I was lucky enough that, well, that's not luck. That's actually no. Uh, no, I was going to say that I was lucky enough that I never had to, work with a studio or something. That's not luck. That's actually the opposite. Somebody paid me to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hear that, you know, in Hollywood it happens a lot that someone writes a script and it's, you know, it expects the audience to be smart, and then, you know, someone goes, oh, this is not understandable, can you make it more obvious? And I think that's the problem that happens a lot
Yeah.
in Hollywood. And if you listen to, you know, podcasts with writers, they will often complain about that.
Yeah.
Sure.
They write a smart movie and then people dumbify it because they don't think the audience is with
Right.
you. In my case, I do have kind of an experience with that. When I did my third short film, there's like this twist at some point, and it was like, how do you walk the line between, am I giving too much, but am I setting up enough so that
Sure.
when it
Right.
happens, you're like, oh, right, yeah, that makes sense? Or I don't know. I still think that I'm not entirely answering your question, because I think that comes with, I don't think it's taught, right? You just learn by doing it.
Sure.
Right.
I would dare saying that some filmmakers never learn.
I'm sure that's
I
right.
will agree.
I'm
I
sure
will.
that's right.
I've seen enough that I will absolutely agree with that.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer. You just, I guess, show it to people, see what they say. I guess that's, you know.
Sure. So you think it's the answer probably lies within your process. You don't really have there's not an easy way to just get out of
Right.
it. You're just going to have to massage it until it works.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's very much. I mean, I've been writing more comics recently, but you were saying earlier about Prey that, you know, you did not see it coming, and I actually had that problem with that book because I was like, this is too obvious. And I guess it was too obvious because, you know, that story was in my head for so long, and I knew
Right.
the end. And hearing people now that it's not, oh no, it surprised me. It's like, well, how? But
Because us as readers are
Right.
idiots.
no, just because you don't know how it's supposed to end.
I was
So,
gonna
you
say,
know,
yeah.
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 But yeah, but I think it's hard to walk that line. I guess sometimes it looks too obvious. Sometimes you feel like people may not be behind you. I don't know. I'm rambling. I don't have an answer. I
That's
think it's
okay.
so
No,
You're
I
not
mean,
rambling at all. No. Well, what did I do for the last 30 minutes?
well, I mean, the best riders, it seems like, you know, you have to walk a tightrope without a safety net. You know, it's going to be you're either going to smack like a bug on the pavement or you're going to make it across. And it's the journey across that draws people in, not necessarily standing on the other side.
yeah.
And
But I
then,
think
I was going to say, and just the best riders, it seems like you get to the point that you don't know. No matter if you're confident you're going to get to that other end, you don't know what it takes to get to that other end. And as a reader, it seems like, you know, that's the best part. When I can't guess the ending of a movie, I mean, I will sit there and go back to it, or the end of a story. If I can't guess it, but I go back a second time and go, oh, I missed that. That gave me hints. You know, I mean, it's like watching The Sixth Sense the second time.
It makes you want to high five M. Night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, yes, I got it.
yeah. You know,
at
and I
one
think that
time,
makes some of the best stories. Yeah, yeah. At one time, lately,
two
yeah,
times. The
right, right.
three, maybe three. No, it is some.
Yeah, yeah. It's a couple. It's a couple. Yeah,
No, but I think you had like the right metaphor of, you know, it's that tightrope, but I guess it's, you don't have a safety net, and I think it's that, is that having the you don't know if it's going to work, but having the courage to take the risk, not make
right.
it safe. And sometimes it's not going to work, but when it works, it's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely,
I
absolutely.
guess that's the thing, is risking it, and yeah, if it works, it's amazing.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it doesn't.
Wonderful. Yes.
The dead silence was, yeah.
All right. Well, the last movie I have, and maybe we can kind of end with this. Um, we do have Nosferatu to talk about. I know a lot of people are still talking about Nosferatu. So now, Bruno, you haven't seen it. But you have seen the original, which I think is super
Right.
valuable as well. It's so funny. I keep seeing online people not knowing about Nosferatu.
Yeah, I don't. I mean,
Isn't it weird?
yeah,
I keep seeing and like people not knowing there's been like other Nosferatu, like the Werner Herzog Nosferatu is
right,
like
right.
amazing. It's like
No, yeah,
it's incredible,
William
right? So
Dafoe. Yeah.
no, not the Willem Dafoe. Oh, that one
No, I
too.
know, but
That's
I'm just saying. In addition to,
Shadow
yeah,
of the Vampire. Yeah,
yeah,
that's also great. It is weird to me that people I've literally seen, and I hope, I mean, maybe they were just trolls, but I've seen a lot of comments just like this is just Dracula.
To be fair, it is. That's
Well, it
I
true.
mean,
is.
yeah,
No, no,
yeah,
no. And it's true. And look, if they've never heard of Nosferatu, they never heard of us. I should not be making fun of anyone, but it
right.
is
Yeah.
funny to me
Well,
that it's
maybe a
like,
little bit.
yes, you figured it out.
If
That's
somebody,
what the
oh no, hey,
lawsuit
hold
was
on, hold on,
about.
hold on. If somebody says they're a horror fan and doesn't know Nosferatu, then you can make fun of them.
Okay, thank
If a
you.
normie says they don't know, okay.
I'll refer
But
back to this when
if
I'm
you say,
laying into
if
someone.
someone
Yeah.
that's a horror fan that says, oh well, what's that? It's like, okay, we're done. We're done. You're not. We're done.
We're all in a different stages of our horror journey, Chris. It's okay. You've got to see it for the first time sometime.
Do your homework.
All right, all right. Um, so yeah, I think Nosferatu. Well, number one, let's just get out of the way. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
I felt like I knew what to expect. Number one, because I'm intimately familiar with the original,
Right.
and also because I'm intimately familiar with Dracula, and also because I'm very familiar with the Robert Eggers films. I kind of knew
I
I
think
had an
we've reviewed
idea.
pretty much all of them.
Yeah, I had a pretty good
Yeah.
idea what I was going to get,
Right.
and I pretty much got that. I think the biggest curveball, and I don't even consider it a curveball, but there's no in the original. It's obviously a silent film, so you
Right.
don't have a voice for Orlok, and so making the decision as to what his voice is like is an interesting idea that I think. I mean, they definitely take a big swing in that voice, and I like it. And people are complaining about the mustache, like that he has a mustache, and like, yeah, like there's one tiny part of my brain where it's like, yeah, but he's a weirdo bald guy, like, but at the same time, it's like that guy in real life, if we're taking this seriously,
And in the
like,
time
and in the
period.
time period and from where
Yeah,
he's
he
from,
absolutely.
there is no way in hell he does not have a mustache.
Yes.
There's no
Right.
way.
Right.
He's got to have that stash. So I completely understand why the stash is there. I think it looks cool. I like the voice. I could gush all day about the production design of that movie.
Right.
Um, Chris, what were your thoughts?
Oh, I mean, you know me, I'm a cinematography guy. This is probably one of the most beautiful looking horror movies in regards to set design and, atmosphere. I
Mm.
mean, I would even take this one above, Dracula,
Bram
you know.
Stoker's Dracula?
Yes.
Friend, those are what we call fighting words.
I'm
I
not
don't
saying,
know.
hey, I'm just saying production design because just the color scale, the atmosphere, some of the lighting that I just loved that you had that candlelight atmosphere
I think you're
on a
not
lot
wrong
of
about
the
any of
no,
that. You're not wrong about any of that. But
yeah,
the thing that you've brought up in my mind is it is difficult for me to not compare this to Dracula, obviously.
right,
But my one of my favorite versions of Dracula and a beloved film of mine is Bram Stoker's Dracula,
right,
the
and
Francis Ford Coppola
I know that,
version.
yes,
And when you see that movie, it's so I think the best word I can use to describe it is passion. There is so much
right.
passion. It is so colorful. It is so
Well, and I think
lusty.
this one is so diametrically opposite.
Yes, it
And
is
I think
cold.
for exactly, and I think that for as much as Bram Stoker's Dracula is top tier for me as well. But I just for this character, this is Count Orlok, not necessarily, quote unquote Dracula. For this character, I think this was absolutely the best choice in regards to, design and colors and atmosphere and it and I thought that brought the whole and not only just that, some of the surprising acting in it,
Sure, yeah.
you know.
The little
I mean,
girls. I love the little girls. Mama,
yeah,
papa.
yeah.
That was pretty good.
And I
Uh,
mean, they were in a kind of a grayish, dark atmosphere. They were
mm,
this cute thing, and then we see what happens later.
right. Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what
yeah.
I mean? I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's, and that really, those kind of things, those little things like that, I think is what sets Eggers apart. And honestly, of current horror directors, uh, he's probably one of my favorite right now.
I think the thing about Eggers is his style is so strong and
And
firmly.
unique.
It is definitely unique. Bruno, have you seen any of his films?
Have I seen any of his films? I don't think I have
Northman,
actually.
Witch,
I haven't seen.
The
Yeah, I haven't seen
Lighthouse.
that because that was during COVID, I believe.
Lighthouse
The
was what, wasn't it?
Lighthouse.
Lighthouse was, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to see it and I didn't either.
Hmm.
That's the thing. I mean, I don't think I've actually seen anything by him. Have
Okay.
I? What was the
What
first?
The
What was his first
Witch?
The
film?
Witch.
I've seen The Witch.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so even and that's the thing with him. I think that's his first feature
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
His style is already there. Like he's
Yeah.
already firmly his own voice. So even only having seen The Witch, like you know what you're going to get in a Nosferatu from this guy.
Mhm.
Um, it's and by the way, the guy from The Witch, the father, is in Nosferatu.
Yes.
I just love that voice. Also, am I wrong, Chris? Is he playing Galactus?
Yes.
He's
Same
playing
time.
Galactus in the new Fantastic Four. That's so much fun.
Right.
That's the perfect voice for Galactus. Come on.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
But I hope he does like some Puritan prayer while he's gonna
I
devour the
don't
earth.
think so. Yeah. But it is he is in a practical suit. I've everything that I've heard for Galactus, and he will be massive. But
Make his head wear huge, you cowards.
he is wearing purple, and he has got a, they say, like a cross between the original comic and like with a little bit of the modern kind of X-Men-y leathery more than
Leather. Leather
I mean,
Daddy Galactus?
yeah,
Okay.
not, but I mean, I can't explain it any way else than that. But I meant, you know what I mean, a little more bulkier, not, but the design is a lot like the
Where do you get
original.
enough leather to put on that big body?
That's it's a big ass
Think
cow.
about it.
That is a big ass cow.
At least it's not a cloud. Just he
Yes,
has
at
Yeah.
least
not a
it's
cloud.
not a
It's not a
cloud.
clown, thank God.
Oh, yeah. What a disappointment.
Yeah,
Oh. Anyway, I mean, we've seen large characters like this in the MCU, which
right.
we all have our thoughts on the MCU. We know
Yeah.
it is what it is. But hopefully we can get. I think it would be so nostalgic and fun to see like a cool Fantastic Four. Like, I hope it's good. I really do hope that it's good.
I'm hoping it's good, but I'm not. I'm
No,
cautiously optimistic.
yeah,
Or not even
you're
cautiously.
cautious.
I'm just cautious. Yeah, I'm not. Pedro Pascal, he's a good actor, but he, in my opinion, is not Reed. And the whole decision to not have Norrin Rad and have Galactus's first appearance is like the biggest.
Not having Silver Surfer is a weird choice.
Right.
Why is I want to know. Well, look, maybe
Well,
it'll
they're
make sense
having
in the movie.
a different Silver Surfer.
Okay, well,
I'm not.
you
Yeah.
know, we'll see. It doesn't all have to be exactly like the comic, but I kind of want it to be for this because it's Fantastic Four.
It's the
I don't know
introduction into the MCU of the first family.
because I
You
want them to get
need
it
to have
right.
it. I know. And I'm sorry. I love Robert Downey Jr. As Iron Man, but to have him as Doom,
It's very strange, right?
Yeah, it's a desperate.
God,
It's a desperate choice.
you're
Like,
right. You're
I think so
absolutely
too.
right.
Yeah,
I mean,
I wouldn't make that decision for
there's
sure.
like a million other actors I would have put in that spot.
For sure, for sure. Anyway, hey, we're talking about Nosferatu here.
Yes, we are talking about Nosferatu.
Back to the Eggman.
Yes.
Uh, so I could talk about it all day. Really, I did love the way it looked. I think the point I was trying to make, bringing up Bram Stoker's Dracula, is that there's something about that passionate, very vivid color, romantic thing where Dracula really is like a romantic character. But I would say they make Orlok more of a parasitic freak. You know, I don't know how else to put it. He's a nasty little guy. I think Nosferatu is about the dangers of online dating. Would you agree with that? I'm just saying.
I
It probably is.
I don't know necessarily about that,
That's
but
what Eggers wants. That's the message he wants you to receive.
did we watch the same movie?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then they meet up at the end and it's like, not worth it.
Yeah.
So I love the production. I think Willem Dafoe, like no one should be surprised by this, but Dafoe
Killed it. Yeah.
rocking his performance in
Right.
this as the sort of Van Helsing character.
Right.
Um, the rat scene that everyone was talking about with all the rats was wonderful.
Yeah.
Um, I really don't want to get too deep into spoilers on this because
Because
it
it's
is
still out in theaters.
it's still out in theaters and people are still experiencing it and it's a wonder. I think it's a wonderful movie. So maybe that's all I really need to say, Chris. Unless there's anything else, any other things you needed. Oh, okay. Wait, one more thing for me because I'm done. This everything about his trip to the castle.
Mm-hmm.
It's I was like vibrating in my seat. It's just like it's perfect as a Dracula lover, as a just everything about it was just wonderful. The shot where he's in that coach stops and there's all those lines of trees and he's like, it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing. And then you get the shot, and I was worried that they would be too cowardly to have a shot like this, but where you see the very small path along the side of the mountain, and then in the distance, in the background, you see that wonderful castle.
Right.
It looks like a painting, like a matte painting from straight out of even the original Dracula.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. The film is not in black and white, but some of it certainly feels like black and white.
And that's like I said with the coloring, it almost gives it that gray tone, but still having some color. And then it makes a huge distinction between when Orlok is in the picture and then the outside world.
Sure.
Because there's a color shift. And it's when you go back for another time to watch it, you distinctly see it more.
It's certainly a movie that will be rewatched.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. For me, particularly.
Or in some cases, just watch for the first time.
Oh, well, yes. This is like Dracula. It's like just Dracula.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I know I really could just tell you how much I loved it all day, but I think I've said what I need to say. I mean, people, if they haven't seen Nosferatu, please do it. Please go see it.
It's definitely a thumbs up.
Robert Eggers needs your support. He needs you in those seats.
Yeah, because he's got no work coming up whatsoever.
It did fairly well. The first week, what did I read? Pretty good box office numbers.
Yeah.
I don't remember the number anymore, but it made its money already. It's doing really well.
And if telling everybody to go see it in IMAX if you get a chance. I mean, it was between the sound and especially some of the visuals, like when he's in captivity.
You reminded me of something that happened.
Okay, go ahead.
During our screening.
Okay.
I did not get to see it in IMAX, but I saw it in a quite nice theater.
Okay.
With wonderful sound. And so there was a moment when, Chris, do you remember the moment when, okay, what's the character's name? It's not Jonathan Harker, but it's Jonathan Harker.
Right.
What's his name? Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah, I know. Anyway.
What's his name?
I can't remember.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He is kind of loose in the castle and he discovers Orlok's tomb.
Oh, yeah.
And he opens it. And there's a scare that follows.
Right.
A man was walking back into the theater.
Oh no!
With a big bucket of popcorn, and he stopped at that. I couldn't believe this was real. It sounds like I'm making this up. I'm not. He stopped at that exact moment. He turned just to kind of look at the screen and get his bearings. I think let his eyes adjust to the dark a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And at that scene, at that exact moment, massive jump scare noise, massive scary thing on the screen, and he stepped back and I thought he was going down. It was amazing. He yelled. I mean, it was wonderful. Everyone laughed. Even he was like giving thumbs up. Like it was incredible. I was already like giddy, and then that made me just go, "This is great. This is the best movie ever
Oh
made."
my god.
Just seeing it be so effective, like right
Right.
there, is like, whoa,
Right.
that was really good. So if you can get that to happen in your screening,
Right.
get that. I would recommend.
Yes.
Send someone out.
Right.
Just, come back.
Tell them nothing about it. Yeah. Come at this time. Yeah.
I could not believe it was just wonderful. So yes, Nosferatu, thumbs up from me, big time.
Yes.
Chris, anything else to add to that?
Okay. Just no. Absolutely. If you haven't seen it, go see it. If you've seen it, go see it again. I mean, that's for me. That's a huge compliment. But yeah, absolutely. It's probably my top movie almost of 2024.
I think mine. I don't know if you can see that, but Long Legs.
Oh
I
yeah.
think Long Legs for me was
And
just it just got me. It was just got me. I've watched it about 6 times since I've owned the
Long
Blue.
Legs for me is a close second, but yeah.
Bruno, did you see Long Legs?
I did not. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean, I haven't really seen anything. I don't know if I said that while we were already talking or if it was before, but I think the last movie that I've seen in cinema was Deadpool and Wolverine. It's like
Right.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen anything recent. So yeah.
Sure.
So and this is not a thing of like last few months. It's been thing of like last couple of years, really.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey, that's all right.
No.
Yeah, you watch what you want to watch. No worries. I also have a hard time seeing a lot of modern things. If you look at my letterbox, most of my stuff is retro to say the least.
Yeah.
So that's just how it is. Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, Bruno, is there anything else you want to add before we sign off?
Not really. Just subscribe to the channel.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Yeah, go to the Bereavement, smash the button. No,
Please.
Go to go to Kickstarter, look at Bereavement, and if you like it, just back it.
Please do.
Absolutely.
Please do. And again, I want you, listener, to pick the tier where you get the other comics because Prey was really good.
Thank you.
Get it
for saying
Absolutely.
that.
I loved it. It was fantastic. Yeah.
And you're hearing that from a horror big fan. So
Yeah.
if
There
it
you go.
satisfies a horror fan,
There you go. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Bruno, thank you so much for joining us. This has
Absolutely.
been an absolute pleasure.
was
Just
fun.
such a blast. We'd love to have you back anytime.
Yep.
thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah. This
was really
this
fun.
was great. Yeah. All right.
I was
Well,
not properly prepared with all the all the subjects, all the horror, but well,
that's all right. I mean, we really do cover it all. That's the
Well,
kitchen sink part. We
yeah,
cover it
yeah.
all.
And in all honesty, we don't really prepare anyway, so you fit right in.
That's true. That's true. All right. Well, please join the Discord. Follow us on the social medias.
Yep.
And most importantly, please kick in on that Kickstarter.
Yep.
Help out Bruno. Get some cool art. Support some cool art. And we'll be back next time.
Yep. Yep. We'll have, hey, guys, make sure you click that link for the Kickstarter. It'll be in our show description and in all our socials. So jump on that.
Excellent. Excellent. Goodbye for now, friends.
All right. Have a good one, guys.